been a bad, bad boy, Gabriel. Oh my God. He speaks.
He's broadcasting his thoughts.
I thought we could help him. But I was wrong. It's time we cut out the cancer.
Throats are cleared. I just want to tell you a funny clip that I saw yesterday. It was from COVID times. Remember COVID-19?
What's COVID?
It ruined our lives for a while. But it was during the COVID baseball season, and some guy broke into Fenway while they were having a baseball game. And like Boston people, like New Yorkers, are just a different breed. So it's clearly a guy that I think at like 7 a.m. under a bridge, high on like several substances, was like, you know, it'll be a great idea going into Fenway. And he like planned what he had to say. So he comes out there. So there's nobody in the stadium. So of course they can hear him screaming. And he goes, "Freedom! America! Remember 9/11 and the Boston Marathon." And then he points to some guy on the field. He says, 23, you're not Michael Jordan.
It's a true patriot right there.
It's just like Americans, and especially like Boston, New York, those like East Coast cities, they're a different breed. Philly, like they're all just like, hey, come over here, I'll beat your ass.
I'm walking in. People completely lost it during the pandemic.
During COVID? Yeah. Oh, 100%. There's I think we're still like, society is still slowly like recovering from.
I think I realize like people, like, especially when I'm driving, people are so angry. I'm just like, damn, like cut me off and just speeding and.
True story. So I do like traffic at this school, and it's in a big lot that also is like a sports complex, so people are always coming in and out to do like, there's soccer fields, there's indoor hockey in the buildings, and I got flipped off because I like stopped traffic and we have a long line of parent pickup, and I'll like send them over, and I'm not supposed to let people turn like down my lane.
Right. They're
supposed to go down another, it's like a 20-second inconvenience. You go down to the next stop sign and then you navigate wherever you need to from there. Literally like 20, 30 seconds of inconvenience. One guy, he was the ref for a soccer game. He like showed me his jersey because he was like, let me turn. I was like, no, go down there and turn. And he flipped me off for a 30-second inconvenience. Like, people get so brave behind the wheel. And then he had to park like 100 feet behind me and walk across to the field.
The walk of shame.
I was like, it would have been a bad day already. I really wanted to just go out there and like just double bird him. Like, hey, man, fuck you.
It's not worth it. It's really not.
It wasn't worth it, but it was like, since he was right there, I was like, damn, that'd be really funny.
Them intrusive thoughts be creeping in. Like, what if I just fucking ran you over? Right. I think my biggest pet peeve when I'm driving is when somebody's like riding my ass, and then it's like there's an open lane right next to me. I'm like, dude, motherfucker, go around. And then they finally go around it, and then they get stopped at a light or something. I'm like, okay, come on. Like, doing all that for nothing.
A lot of people are in a rush to get nowhere.
Yeah.
Ain't that society, man?
That's society, and it's kind of like the movie we're talking about today. Not really, but kind of. Really. There's a really angry thing in this movie.
Anyways, movies. So today we're continuing our Halloween series. We're going to do our next James Wan movie. We've been comparing the James Wan movies and the A24 movies. And today we're doing Malignant, which what I think is James Wan's passion project.
It's his magnum opus.
It's all been leading to this. They were like, Warner Brothers, I think it was like, hey, you made us a ton of money when you made Aquaman and directed Fast and the Furious.
And then James Wan goes into the studio and he's like, I have this great idea about this movie about a conjoined twin. And then the studio was like, green light, green light, green light.
They're like, buddy, that's a blank check right there. So, if you haven't seen Malignant, what is it about?
I don't know. I thought you could explain it to me.
Okay, so I don't want to go full spoilers, but basically what we get is there is some sort of like apparition / killer that is killing all these people that we see in a flashback. We're doing some sort of science experiments on some unseen thing that we don't see in the intro.
I don't really know if it was experiments, but they're like doing therapeutical stuff.
It's a lab. There's experiments, and somebody in that lab is killing everyone.
It looks like the fucking Nazi lab from Overlord.
Yeah. Well, no. Do you remember when they go back and you see the exterior? It looks like fucking Castlevania.
Yeah. For whatever reason. Where is this set? Do we know where this is set?
In a scary building, whether it's a house or a haunted hospital. Just kidding.
Spooky buildings scare me.
It's set in the Monster House from Monster House. No, okay. And then and then we flash forward, and there's a woman who's in an abusive relationship with her husband.
A very abusive relationship.
Goes 0 to abuse very quickly. Very quickly.
Is it bad that I laughed when she got beat up?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
It's kind of funny out of context, but I don't know if you should laugh in the middle of it.
Okay.
So we see their whole dynamic. The husband's physically abusive as well as mentally. And then that night, an apparition comes and murders the husband, and then goes on in this series of murders of these people that we saw previously in this science lab. And how are they connected? A detective comes involved, and we're kind of sussing out the mystery of what's happening here and who is behind these murders.
Yep. That's the movie.
That's the movie. And then there's more at the end that I'm going to spoil later, but not yet. Kaylin, just generally, we both watched this for the first time in the past couple days. What do you think about Malignant? Do we recommend it?
I thought it was a giant pile of shit. But I thought that at least they tried, and I'll give them brownie points for that. But yeah, it definitely had that James Wan style to it. And then it went full on Matrix, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
What is happening?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it is. I think it's kind of an homage to like some B movies, like the beginning of the lab in this like science experiment. The whole vibe at the beginning, and then what we see
Super
at the
campy.
end is very like campy B movie. Like the science are doing these experiments, and they're it's coming back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
But the middle part is largely this investigation and us. So our main woman, we see in the middle, she's like somehow connected to this killer, because whenever someone dies, she like has a vision where she watches the murder happen. And those sequences, I will say, are kind of cool.
Yeah, she like goes into the upside down kind of thing.
Basically, everything like melts away and reforms around her.
But I like the shots of when like they pan around her and then the background kind of morphs into something different.
She morphs into whatever the murderer's location is.
Interesting.
And all along the way, we're kind of getting a little like there's something Jekyll and Hyde going on. I think, at least for me, it was kind of obvious. Like there's something Jekyll and Hyde going on with this woman and this killer. Somehow they are connected, but we don't really know how. At some point, a woman is abducted and kept in an attic or somewhere. Okay, spoilers, it's an attic, but it's somewhere.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second. There's like a giant like fan, and I thought it looked like an industrial warehouse or something, but apparently it's this lady's attic. I don't know how big her fucking house is.
There's a big fan in the monster house.
Yeah. But it's like, we'll get into this when we talk about It's an Art, because the fucking house is just ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's like Doctor Who's police box. It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah. It's like goes into a different dimension. You walk in the door or something.
When you walk in the door and this shitty house suddenly has vaulted ceilings and like massive floor space. So there's a lot going on. I guess, yeah, it's just if we're summing up the plot, it's a police investigation which leads to a point which I won't spoil because that's like the spoiler point. I would say whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, you're in for a ride. Like, it's an unforgettable experience.
Yes.
So if you're in the Halloween mood, I would say maybe check it out before we go to full spoilers, because I think if you know what's happening at the end, it won't hit quite the same.
It very much subverts your expectations. That's for sure.
That's for sure. So yeah, let's
dive in.
Let's dive into the performance test, which we will use to talk about our favorite actors, characters, scenes, moments.
It was the performance of a lifetime.
So at the beginning, when we get in the lab and people are just flying around, I was like, did I just turn on the X-Men? Like, what is what movie am I watching right now?
That's what I was going to say. Like, this movie is straight out of like the early 2000s. And it kind of has that charm to it, but then it like completely loses it until the ending. You know, so you're like going on this ride of like just it's so boring. Yeah. It's so fucking boring. And then when the crazy shit happens, then it's like, all right, yeah, this is all right. But
it almost feels like this is a movie, which my Letterboxd review was, I can't tell if this is a prank or not. It almost feels like this is a movie that it's intentionally like setting you up for a much more boring movie to be like, fuck it, things are gonna go crazy.
Yeah,
you
seriously.
know, because it's very like cookie cutter by the numbers, like horror-y, like detective movie. Like,
yeah,
it's more supernatural than like Seven, but it's like, you know, it's doing the same tropes. And in fact, they're so tropey. Like, we have our main detective, and then we have his sidekick who's like, this shit is bullshit the whole time.
Yeah.
Who
incredibly miscast, by the way.
Oh, I was looking at her, and I bet James Wan was, okay, verbal meme.
Okay.
James Wan is in the back seat, and Warner Brothers executives are in the front seat of the car, right? And James Wan is like, I want Wanda Sykes for the detective part. And they say, no, we spent all that money on your CGI. You have Wanda Sykes at home. And the woman that we got is Wanda Sykes at home.
Seriously.
Just real dollar store Wanda Sykes.
He really plays into stereotypes, I realize. Like, holy shit. Especially when we'll get into it at the end. And the scene, I know you know what I'm talking about. The scene where she's in with the ladies in the prison.
Yeah.
It's so stereotypical. And it's almost like laughable how bad it is. Like,
yeah. It's all tropes. It's all stereotypes. And then it's like
borderline on racism. Like, but you don't see any stereotypical Asians, and James Wan is an Asian guy, so
that's true. Our officer is Officer K. They call him K.
What I don't remember his single name.
I don't remember anyone's names except for the brain.
Yeah, Gabriel. Yeah.
So our main character, she's in this abusive relationship, which it goes like 0 to 100 very quickly. She comes home, she's a little ill. We find out that she's currently pregnant and that she's had previous miscarriages.
Yes.
And she's like, yeah, I just want to take a nap. Although the one move I will say, she just like, he's watching UFC and she just grabs the remote and shuts it off without saying anything. And I'm like, I'm not an abuser, but I would be mad about that too. Like, what the fuck, lady?
Well, then I think he was kind of being helpful, because when he smashed her head into the wall, he was trying to help her take a nap. So, good boyfriend? I think so.
Just like, take a nap. And it's fucked up because the spousal abuse is only there so she can hit her head. Hitting her head is a key plot point, and you can do that so many ways.
She could have fell down the stairs.
There are numerous times in this movie where it feels like it's making people be shitty just so we don't feel bad when they get killed later.
Yeah.
Except they don't do that for any of the cops, which, wait, that makes sense because they're cops.
Yeah, it's like it's a gray line. You know? We all want the cops to die. I mean, no, we don't.
What?
Blue lives.
But like that happens with the boyfriend. The boyfriend's a piece of shit. So when he gets murdered at the start of the movie, I guess you don't feel bad. When she goes to prison and she's in the all-female jail cell and they just start picking on her for no fucking reason at all.
Start stomping the shit out.
And they act like she's like the most prissy, like rich white woman. Like she's pretty fucking basic.
She was kind of just sitting there, not doing anything. She lives in a fucking like, I don't know, some shitty house on Lake Street.
Yeah, I know. Like her house isn't nice. Her clothes aren't super nice, but they act like she walked in wearing like Chanel head to toe or something.
It made no sense. And I think that's what the theme of this movie is. It just, nothing makes fucking sense.
What's the matter, Pollyanna? You get lost on the way to the country club?
Look, I don't want any trouble.
Aren't we in the performance test? Let's talk about some performances here. I guess we could talk about our main actress, Annabelle Wallace. She's fine. I don't know. There's no like standout performances.
Yeah, her whole job is to be sort of like the little Bambi of the movie, where she's sad and conflicted, and then and blank faced.
Yeah, seriously.
Those are her two modes.
But everybody in this movie is sad and conflicted. Like, there's no emotion from anybody.
No, not really at all. There's a sister character, and at the beginning she's like, I just really want a blood relation with someone, because we find out that our main character is adopted. Which, big hint, the one daughter's blonde, and this one's got black hair. Adopted.
Yeah, because she's got blonde hair, so that would,
Adopted.
Yeah.
Whoever, I mean, I guess I'm not an adopted child, but whoever is like, I need a blood relation with someone. Maybe that is a thing that adopted people go through, but just the way that she says it is like,
it's very clinical.
It's fucking weird. Like, I think it makes sense to need to see your biological family.
Sure.
It's weird to say, I just need a blood relation with someone.
Yeah.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And the way she said it was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So right off the bat, I don't know. I was kind of like on the side of the boyfriend.
Oh, Kaylin, I don't like this. He's an irredeemable piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the cops in this were terrible.
Well, they're written just like, it's like fucking Ice-T and whoever Ice-T is up across from in SVU.
Well, I mean, it's funny because, I mean, they're CSI, and I was like, this is literally a CSI episode. Yeah. Like, the acting quality is like CW bad. Yeah. It's terrible.
It does feel like, a lot of the middle part does feel like an hour-long crime show.
Yeah.
Except it's got a supernatural twist.
And it's not entertaining in the slightest.
It's not entertaining, and you're not interrupted every 10 minutes so somebody can sell you, like, Clorox.
Have you... Wait, no. It's Law and Order that Ice-T is in.
Yeah, Law and Order.
There's this episode that cracks me up. You might have to clip this in. But when he's like, he's talking to this dude, this black guy. And the black guy goes, I'm not gay. I have relationships with women. Sex with men. And then Ice-T is like, I'm sorry to break it to you. That means you're gay.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women. And sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
You're going to have to find that and clip that in.
It's
fucking hilarious.
And we know the detectives don't matter because both of these detectives end this movie in extreme peril, and it doesn't take any effort to show us whether they died or survived.
Yeah. You don't ever see them. Like, that confrontation that they have with Gabriel at the end, and then you never see him again.
And then credits. Lady cop is left at the police headquarters.
Yeah.
bleeding out. And main detective, he's outside the room. We don't even cut outside the room. He got punched hard as hell or stabbed.
Yeah.
By Gabriel, and we never see him.
And you spend so much time with them in this movie. So
I just thought it was hilarious. I was like, wow, we're really not going to see what I thought it was.
Yeah.
We were going to get like 3 more minutes of this movie where we like see our
some
main
type
character
of resolution,
like come back to her normal life, and the detectives, like one of them's got a big bandage on and the other one's got a limp, and they're like, good thing we closed the case. It was worth it.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. This is another thing with James Wan. It's like his endings, there's no coming back from any of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to live a normal life after this? This is the same problem I had with The Conjuring, too, where it's like, there's no coming back from that, Mom. I'm sorry. You try to stab your daughter with some scissors and you're fucking demonically possessed. I don't know. It just bothers me.
Also, she still literally has the brain tumor.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll be back. And she's like, well, I'll be ready for you.
There'll be sequels.
You know, Jesus Christ.
So now we're going to go full spoilers. The big reveal at the end is what's been going on is our main character was actually a conjoined twin that was like a parasitically and graphically like attached to her back.
And he also has supernatural powers, and he can fight like Neo from the
Yeah,
Matrix.
and he can speak through radios and
super strength and Jesus Christ.
When she was back in the lab, because I forgot to mention, our main character has amnesia from the age of 8 years old, which is like, oh, there's going to be backstory there.
It's very convenient.
She, in that previous time, was in this lab along with Gabriel, the thing that we saw from the beginning. And at the end, they decided we have to remove the cancer. So they removed Gabriel from her because he's like this evil being that's parasitic and is sucking life from her. They can't remove him fully because they're conjoined at the brain. Mm-hmm. So like
removing him would kill her.
Kill her. So they basically like cut out as much as they can and then put the rest in her brain.
I love this scene where they're doing that and they just push his head in, and then they put on the other piece of her skull like a fucking Lego or something.
Yeah. I did actually like how graphic that was because it needed to be disgusting.
Well, that's another thing about this movie that I appreciate. There's a lot of gore and a lot of ridiculous fucking action. So
yes. So at the beginning, when she gets her head smashed in the wall by her abusive boyfriend, that's what reawakens Gabriel, who's been latently in there. And all these times where she's been having visions, she has been like basically in the upside down or like in the get out place.
Yeah.
And he's been taking over her body to execute all these murders with his little meatball Muppet face.
And walking backwards. And
yeah, which means we get hilarious action scenes at the end where she's doing all the actions backwards because Gabriel is controlling her from the backside of her body.
Yes.
And so it's just like the joy of that twist is, I guess, all that you can really get, at least for me, is what you get out of the movie. And I spoke to someone who said they thought the opposite. I liked everything up until the end.
Really?
So I feel like this movie can only disappoint you. You know?
That's a Letterboxd review right there.
Speaking of Letterboxd reviews, do we have anything more to say about the performance test?
No.
There's a mother character. There's also the biological mother character. It all doesn't fucking matter. The one other thing I do want to say, wait, I'll save it. But I just want to say this and The Conjuring end very similarly in different ways.
Yes. I think I know what you're talking about.
You know where I'm gonna go with that.
Yes.
But before we go to It's an Art Bro, shall I read some of our Letterboxd reviews for Malignant?
Do it.
Okay, so this is 3.5 stars. Me 20 minutes in. Really? This is it? Me 80 minutes in. LOL, LOL, yes, absolutely, please, never end. Another 3.5 star. Great addition to the Where Is My Mind by the Pixies in a movie where two people end up being one person cinematic universe. Because the theme is Where's My Mind by the Pixies. It's a remix of it, which is the theme of Fight Club.
Oh my God.
So really this is just a sequel to Fight Club.
Okay, now I like it more.
If Brad Pitt had been in here, it'd be a lot better. Or Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Honestly.
More incel men. That's what we need.
This is a 4-star review. I couldn't stop thinking about how bad that wig is, and then it all made sense.
Yeah.
Because the monster just constantly has its face covered.
Yeah.
And it's just like flowing black hair in a trench coat.
And it's wet for whatever reason.
It looks like a villain from a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
It looked like a fucking... Well, the trench coat she was wearing looked like a fucking Assassin's Creed outfit.
She did.
Yeah, you know?
Assassin's Creed black...
Assassin's Creed Malignant.
2.5 stars. For the last 30 minutes, holy shit, someone definitely cashed in their one for me card. Which, like, you know, one for me, one for them. Like, directors often do that.
Okay.
This is James Wan's one for me. I bet he loves, like, shitty B movies, because that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
And I think... Yeah. I do think I'll give him enough credit that some of the stuff that reads as camp or bad is purposefully... like, kind of that way. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. It could just be bad.
I think because I never took this movie seriously.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, like a hilarious moment to me is when she's under the, they do the, what's it called? She's under the hypnotist. Mm-hmm. And it feels like the lady, things start going bad, and the lady out of nowhere is like, okay, so when I tap your head, you're awake. And she just does it, and it works immediately. Like, she just pulled that out of her ass.
Well, I saw some, like, kind of Evil Dead type stuff where especially like when he's like panning in on somebody screaming or something. I'm thinking about the scene when the lady fell through the floor and then it just shows the main character and she's just like manic and screaming for no reason really. She didn't really have a reason to do that, but it just reminded me of like Sam Raimi kind of stuff.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think a lot of the camera movements, especially when like the action is happening, it is pretty Sam Raimi. Very active camera in this movie. That's one thing I will say. Segue to It's an Art Bro. This is where we talk about the filmmaking process, sets, effects, lighting, camera work.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
The camera work in this is like pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And like while I made fun of the house being like way bigger on the inside, I do like the way they shot the house, especially in the beginning with the husband getting murdered and like the light switching on, like the TV switches on and it casts like a big shadow. There's a lot of like great color, especially in the dark scenes that stands out.
Yeah, there's some like really nice hues of red and that kind of stuff. And the rain, I like the setting kind of, I mean like the rainy kind of shitty city. It looks like
it's Seattle.
7 or something. Yeah.
I mean, it's literally supposed to be Seattle, but it does have like the 7 vibe, yeah, where it's just a rainy city where detectives have to solve some gruesome murders.
Yeah.
There's a very inexplicable moment. Sorry, this is not It's an Art Bro, but when the mom gets kidnapped, were you also like, what the fuck? I was like, do I know this black-haired woman?
Yeah,
Are we supposed to know her?
No, it was just like I thought it was the doctor from the beginning.
That's what I thought too.
And I was like, but why is she working on like a tour thing of like the old city or whatever? It didn't make any sense. And yeah, her character wasn't explained in the beginning, but I guess it was set up later or whatever. But I don't know.
James Wan has a spooky house, which he loves. The house is spooky. It's spooky on the inside and the outside.
Yes.
But what I think really ramped it up to 11, even though we hardly spent any time there, was the spooky hospital. Because our sister character drives down to the spooky hospital. And I thought we were going to have, and maybe it got cut for runtime, a long scene where she's like searching her way through the hospital, and it's creepy. And maybe even the monster finds her there, and she has to escape or whatever. But no, she drives up to it, parks like 6 inches away from a cliff face.
Yeah.
Well, she walks in this Castlevania, Lord of the Rings ass
fucking whatever
massive gothic hospital, and then smash cut to her in the file room finding exactly what she needs. That's the next time we see her.
Well, that's what kind of irritates me too, is like this movie is setting up like a slasher. Okay, let's do some slasher stuff. Let's have like the hide and seek type of shit. You know what I mean? But they don't do any of that.
No, every time it's like the person gets caught and they're immediately just fucked.
Murdered. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I also noticed that this is a movie that's horny.
Yes.
We have a little horniness between the CSI like forensic investigator lady and our main detective. She's hot for him. We get a little hint that he's hot for the sister character.
Yeah.
Off of like one look and him saying yes to something that was maybe a little questionable.
He found her attractive.
I mean, yeah.
And he had the opportunity to shoot her in the face later on in the movie, and he didn't do that because she was attractive.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I also want to point out how everything looks like a Spirit Halloween store. You know, like especially like the lair,
yeah,
the attic looks like a fucking. It looks like sets.
The attic in the back of the set, in the back of the house is a bizarre set because it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It looks like an industrial fucking depot or something.
Yeah, and it's too like subvert your expectations, but when you think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, why the fuck is there a massive fan in this attic?
It doesn't make any, and the ceilings are so high. Like, how big is this fucking house?
The cavernous police precinct.
Yeah,
it's the highest ceilings you've ever seen.
It kind of looked like the precinct kind of looked like Resident Evil. I don't know if you've ever played Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
but it looks just like that. It's like really gothic and like empty.
And it's funny that whenever this movie needs to explain something, it's like, here's some videotapes.
Yeah.
Here's some video.
Well, the mom just kept this like collection of videotapes of her daughter having manic episodes. And I was like, why do you have these? These are great.
She is that, and there's also a plot download, I think, happening at the same time with the detectives watching, or
the sister finding
the videotapes at the hospital of the experiments and stuff that's happening there.
Exposition tapes. Yeah.
It's I mean, it's a well-run cliche. I'm not like super mad at it. It was just funny that they decided these both are going to happen at the same time, because like they're like, we got so much to explain now.
I think the build up to it was supposed to like shock you, but I kind of figured out what was happening 20 minutes into the movie. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, obviously like there's something with her head and shit. I don't know. It was.
I didn't know. I didn't have like Meatball Man pegged as like the thing, but
Neo Meatball Man.
But I that there was some other side of her, and she had to have something to do with these experiments because she's missing all her memories from 8 years ago.
Yeah,
from 8 years of age and on. So it's like kind of obviously set up, and I think the only misdirect is our detective has a confrontation with the monster where we finally see the monster's meatball face.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be like, well, they can't be the same person because this one has a meatball face.
But then you're like, you see him walking backwards and shit. It's obviously somebody walking backwards. And you're like, okay, well.
You know what the movements remind me a lot of? It was a lot like when the alien takes over the farmer at the start of Men in Black.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar vibes.
Yeah.
That has a Law and Order connection. That guy, I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he's in Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
Oh my God, everything is connected.
Everything comes back to Law and Order. 6 degrees of separation from Law and Order.
One thing I will say before we end It's an Art, the soundtrack kind of slaps. I don't know if you agree with me.
I couldn't figure out, but once I read the review, the remix of Where Is My Mind is a good thing. I just was listening to it like, what is that? I know this tune a little bit, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. But
it was kind of bumping.
Good music.
Yeah. They also have like the synth wavy kind of stuff. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think in general, like production, I will give James Wan the production design, cinematography, like a lot of that stuff is like well done, and it's like you can tell money was spent and put in the appropriate places.
Sure.
And that like overall, I think it's aesthetically like a good horror movie.
Yeah, it's definitely like his best looking movie. Like, I'm comparing this to The Conjuring, and obviously, I mean, that was like, it wasn't his first feature length film, but
no, but it's like 8 years earlier.
Yeah, and
smaller budget.
Conjuring was just so boring to look at. This was like, there's actual colors going on. And like the dark spots are really dark, and that's what I like too.
So let's go into our next subject, which is, hey, what are you trying to say? We talk about what this movie has to say.
What are you saying? Are you saying double-breasted because I should be wearing some milk duds or something? because I happen to weigh a little more when I was younger and then lost some weight that I'm a little stretchy in the nipple area, and so that my breasts flap like two large wind socks flapping in the wind even though there's no wind, and I should have something to keep my breasts in so they don't burst out and poke people's eyes out? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm just saying they're on sale this week.
Really, how much?
Now, this has been a weird new addition to our segments because some movies it just doesn't fit. But this is my one thing. James Wan wants you to believe hard enough.
Yes. He wants you to believe in love, because love fixes everything, right?
This is your daughter! Yeah! You can't give in!
Roger, we need to get her to fight from the inside.
Don't let her do this to
can
you,
still get
okay?
through.
Don't let this thing do this. You gotta fight it. I know you're stronger than she is. You gotta fight it.
Keep it going, Roger.
You guys stay with us, all right? Come on back, Carolyn.
That you just got to believe hard enough to like fix everything. That happens at the end of The Conjuring. And the exact same thing happens at the end of Malignant.
Yes. You get a monologue by the birth mother, where she's like, I should have loved you, Gabriel, because you are my son. And Gabriel's like, fuck you, bitch. No, but he didn't do that. But there's that, and then with the main character, she has this like inner conflict where she's like, I'm going to shut this imaginary jail cell on you, and you're going to be trapped in my mind forever.
Did you forget? We share the same brain.
I didn't ask to be tethered to you. You don't deserve your body. I can use it better than you.
Not anymore. You don't get to control me ever again. It's over, Gabriel. I'm taking it all back. My mind, my body, my everything. Now you get to live in a world that I create.
You know what this ending is? Did you ever play what is it? Arkham Knight?
Arkham Knight. Yeah, with the Joker at the end.
It's the ending of Arkham Knight.
It's literally that.
It's I'm locking you in my mind prison. Once again. That's what this movie's trying to say.
I guess that works. I haven't tried it. My fucking inner demons are always coming out. Maybe I should just imagine a jail cell for them.
Yeah, you don't need a like half lobotomy. You just need to try hard enough. Does that just mean every like protagonist of James Wan movies are just weak-willed up until that point?
It kind of seems like that. Yeah, they're finding their inner strength. It's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a cheap and lazy way to end your movie. I'm sorry.
It would have been way cooler to have this woman just murder her shitty husband.
Yeah.
Like knowingly.
Yeah, and like maybe she's like...
She's hearing whispers.
Yeah.
That are like egging her on, like when she is the daughter. It's not like this brain is shoving out of my skull and like literally like marionetting my body around town.
Right.
It's just telling her to do shitty things and like tricking her mind.
And maybe she's more like willing to, because there's a part of her that really does have this violent side to her.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the scene when she's little
and she has the
and
knife?
she has the little phone. And she's on the phone with Gabriel because Gabriel can, for whatever fucking reason, tap into fucking phone lines and anything electrical. But she's having this little conversation on this glow-up phone. And Gabriel's like, yeah, get your mom a slice of cake. A big old slice or something. And it's like, that sounded nice. Just she wanted to give her mom some cake. She goes downstairs and grabs a knife. And then she does the... upside down thing, and she's like actually at her mom's bedside, and she's about to cut into her pregnant mother. Mm-hmm. And it was just like, when she's on the phone with Gabriel, she's like complicit and she's okay with what he's saying, like, yeah, go grab a knife. And it just didn't make any sense, because it's like, if there's nothing really wrong with her brain, she should be able to not doing this. I don't know, none of this made any sense.
Gabriel hates the adopted sister a lot. That's a thing that happens. So at the end, she can be like, I don't need a blood sister or sibling. You're the only sibling I ever needed. Which, like, you should have fucking known that from the start, because she's been, like, your A1 day one, like, helping you out constantly, you know? Like, she's only helpful this entire movie.
I love, like, the part where she's, like, trying to convince the main character to, like, snap out of it. Mm-hmm. And she's like, Gabriel's feeding on your babies. He's been eating your fetuses. I'm like, what? He was eating your fetuses to get stronger.
Maddie, please.
I can't hear you.
Maddie, I know you couldn't hear me. You have to fight him.
Madison's not home.
Madison, he killed your babies. He was the cause of your miscarriages. He was feeding off of your fetuses to build himself back up.
Okay, shall we move along to Let the Hate Flow Through You?
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
We've been letting the hate flow through this whole episode.
Yeah, my main thing is I feel like it's wrong to bring up spousal abuse for the reason to knock this woman on the head. Like, find another reason. You know, it's very triggering to some people. Also, like, it's just an important thing. Like an important subject. If you bring it up, you should, like, do something with it.
Yeah, maybe,
you know?
like, have the husband stick around a little bit longer instead of being offed in the first scene, you know?
It's just kind of an ugly thing to drudge up just to hit this woman on the head.
Yeah.
Many things can hit you on the head.
And he threw her against that shit like Superman or something. It
was fucked up.
Yeeted her ass.
Yeah. Like, she cracked the fucking drywall. Wild. And my other thing is just James Wan cannot write a three-dimensional character. Nobody ever gets any depth. They're all like these just chess pieces that move around to get to the end of the movie. But, like, never do we ever, seems like, between this and The Conjuring and anything else I've seen by him, it's like, I think it works in, like, a Saw movie or something like that. But when you're trying to do a little more than that, you need to, like, give somebody some character. Even our main character, she's mostly just, you know, she is sad and overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have many other notes.
No. And then I also have an issue with, like, what's with the Matrix shit? What the fuck is that? It made no sense. Why does Gabriel know Kung Fu? It doesn't make he was like John Wick at the end. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, none of Gabriel's powers make any sense for, like, a parasitic being.
Yeah.
That's the, like, B-movie sci-fi shit where you just got to be like, well, I guess.
It's a weird meatball monster. We're okay with it, you know. Yeah.
But that's what brings us the most fun part of the movie. So it's like, well,
it's true. It kind of paid off in that aspect.
It doesn't make any sense, but it's where my only source of joy came.
I thought his little knife was cool. I like the he also knows how to weld, apparently. He's just very talented individual, you know.
You know, I think it makes a lot of sense that our like weird tumor man that's been locked, like, inside somebody's head for a long time and is very, like, angry has like gothic taste.
Yeah.
You know, big trench coat, long drab hair.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He's got some style. Maybe if, you know, his mother would have loved him more, he could have just been, you know, could have been a valuable asset.
You were my meatball baby.
Yeah, more brownie points. I think the poster is cool. The fucking...
Yeah.
That's a good poster. I don't know. I'm just trying to pull out some positives for this. Yeah.
It's a trip. Like, it's an experience.
It's hard to even explain, like, what you just fucking watched. And I think that's, like...
That's
cool, you know?
That's where I get back to, like, is this a prank? Because it starts B-movie, and then it gets really dull, and then it comes back around like, this is the most absurd thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, it's, like I said, I think it's just bound to disappoint, because I think people that want the B-movie shit will want the B-movie shit all the way through. That's me. Like, I wanted a little more camp and fun during the detective portion of this movie, and, like, investigation portion, but that part is pretty, like, straight-faced.
Yeah, it's really one note.
And then there's the other people that like the straight-faced part and are like, why the fuck is this so stupid?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, it's on HBO Max or Max.
It's been on since it came out.
So, if you, check it out if you're looking for something. like interesting. I will give it that it's not dull.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like at least they were trying something different, and I'll give them points for that.
I like this more than The Conjuring.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Nothing in The Conjuring drew my interest as much as this woman just demolishing this entire prison cell of bullies.
Well, I was almost like, maybe I should like really go through James Wan's movies, but I was like, they're just so. There's one thing about them, they're just so fucking boring. I don't know. It's just, I guess it just doesn't interest me anymore. But
yeah. So, Malignant, we need to go to our final question, which I think you already know the answer. Is this a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect. Perfect in every way.
No.
nah.
No. It's, it goes in the hall of you had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie, or you had me in the back half, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like half of, no matter what you like, I think it's like half the movie you want it to be.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny because this movie should have the makings of like a cult classic.
And I think it might still have that status.
Maybe, though. I don't know. It just doesn't like, it's too long, I think. This is an like a.
It's like a
2-hour plus movie. It's fucking long, man. I don't know. I don't think it can hold anybody's attention for that long until something happens. And that's usually like most of James Wan's movies, where it's just like you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. And well, while you can't have that from listening to this podcast, I think if you just happen to turn on this movie knowing nothing about it, that might be the best experience.
Sure.
Because it does go, you know, you get to the
left.
last 30 minutes and you go, whoa, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I meant to talk about the jail scene when she's with the women. It was hilarious. Going back to stereotypes, there was like a 70s black prostitute for whatever fucking reason. This is supposed to be set in modern day, but she looked straight out. She had the afro and the fucking parachute pants on,
bell bottoms.
And then there was like a chola lady for no fucking reason. She had a teardrop in the bandana and then the checkered shirt.
But the lady doing the most talking is this weird, like, 60-year-old white woman.
And I know that actress from somewhere. Yeah. Where is she from? That's what I was trying to figure out. Oh, she's in Hateful Eight. She's in the scene where she's the Australian lady. Remember the scene when the gang takes over the haberdashery? She's the lady that was supposed to, or that was
she's like
the carriage driver.
Oh.
That's where she's from.
I don't remember this at all, but
yeah,
I believe it.
Remember Hateful Eight? That's a good movie.
Remember movies that are good? All right, so next week we will be doing Talk to Me, which is a new A24 movie by, I'm forgetting their real names, but they are Raka Raka on YouTube, a couple of Australian YouTubers, twins. Definitely a different vibe.
For sure.
Different vein of horror, which is why we are doing this series. So, until then.
See ya.
It's Rumble, trophied up, so many wins on my shelf. Cancel my dentist appointment, I'll be feeling myself. You didn't help me reach the top, I hit the ceiling myself. Janky burner for a pretty light check. Would you rather pay more or pay less? Know my ops, we got seeds, they stressed. Wait till they see my neck. How you